What has been your experience of how you've come to know yourself better by getting to know the other? How would you speak about them?
That's very personal, what I will tell you now. But for me, I grew up with one understanding, for example, of evangelism. I understood always evangelism about turning others into becoming not only Christians, but also Protestant. With these encounters, I struggled with my own faith. And I realized from my own faith that evangelism is bringing the good news. And there is nothing good in bringing judgment to the other by saying, if you don't become like me, you're going to hell. What's good about that? So I realized that evangelism is about bringing love to people, loving them, making them experience the good news, really. So that's one thing I come to understand better, for example, by these encounters. But also by the other thing happens by the questions you are asked by the other, then you have to understand yourself more. The most important thing you learn from the encounter with the other, it's your limitation. And realizing that you are only one person who understands his or her own faith from his or her own perspective also. So you don't represent the whole Christian faith. You don't represent Christ. You don't represent God fully. You try to present your own side of that. So you understand your limitation. And you understand that your understanding of God is always limited, is always a journey, is always something that you grow in. So very important thing for me that I realize that I'm in journey with God.
Yes.
And the best thing I can do is that through this journey, I work with others and help others to experience also God, but also be enriched by their experiences. Being ready always that in journey you will have difficult roads, you will have rain, you will have storms, you will have also good weather, sometimes have strong sun, sometimes you will go in desert, but sometimes you will be in green fields. So it's a journey. With the journey comes everything. What we are going through in the Middle East today of difficult times is not something new. It happened in the past, it's happening now. It will happen again in the future. It happened in other places in the world in other times. The question, are we ready to accept that it happens, that we live in the bad times, but then there is hope for our children, our grandchildren to be in a better situation? I always tell my colleagues, tell my people that my congregation, all the congregations I visit, that what we're experiencing now in the Middle East is not very different than what Europe experienced in the Middle Ages before Reformation. The Inquisitions were not very different than ISIS. ISIS is a new Inquisition, which means that we're now in the darkest time, but which means that Reformation will come. It's sad that we're in the deepest hole of darkness at the moment. It's sad that it's very probable that our generation won't see that Reformation happening here in the Middle East. But as I said, if we realize that history is bigger than us, then we have hope that our children, our grandchildren will see the going up of this hole into a better life. Remembering that after the Reformation there was killing and the blood and fights and bad times. It took time, but it's moving. It's moving.